Welcome to a bit more Division 1, ladies and gentlemen. We had a lot of Division 7 lately, and it was a lot of fun, but of course we also want to look towards the upper end of the skill level here. And while Division S, the new project of Heroes launch, hasn't really started yet, we're going to see a lot of the former pro players, so a bit of a semi-pro league, we still have Division 1, and that's what we're going to look at today. We have No Rolf going up against Ryzing Gaming, and our first map is going to be a Sky Temple. So we're going to start things off, and we can expect a bit more coordination, build, finesse, and of course also a level of execution here from those two teams. And I guess it all starts with the draft, right? Still, there's going to be some preference picks that we're going to see, and let's not forget this is still the amateur scene, but Division 1 definitely quite a bit higher than what we are used to see from Division 7 in the past few days and weeks. Sky Temple with an immediate hammer ban. Alright, fair enough. Didn't quite think that the hammer ban would come out this early. But again, we have seen also, of course, around BlizzCon and from HGC a lot of hammer plays and can be quite frightening. There's also a very good chance that the two teams have done a little bit scouting before going up against each other, so that might just be one of the preference picks that Ryzing Gaming has. So maybe a bit of a target ban. The Samuro ban on the other side makes me already look at this and say like, wait a second, I just hailed this as Division 1. Are we sure we're not in Division 7? And to answer that question myself, I am sure. But apparently these are either targeted picks or I'm missing something here a bit. Now Samuro can be a nuisance on Sky Temple and has played in HGC a big role on Sky Temple too, because he can easily just roam the map after level 10 with a global ability or semi-global that you have. And the big thing is that you can snipe buildings with him, especially if there's an Abathur in play. But we're seeing an Abathur ban, and that is definitely more down the alley. You might have realized that in Division 6 and 7, we have seen basically no Abathurs. Neither was the hero picked, nor was the hero banned. And that is a pretty big indicator, because on the higher levels, Abathur is extremely powerful. Maiev also banned out, so definitely a few more meta bans that we're currently seeing from the two teams here. And I'm personally quite curious to see what happens around the early pick phase now, because we still have a couple of heroes that are usually consistently banned out, especially Mal'Ganis is a little bit of a question mark to me. Is that something that the teams are going to value this highly? We're starting things off with a Tyrande. So a huge difference in drafting, as you can already see, from Division 1 to Division 7. It's absolutely understandable. Tyrande, as we've been saying a lot, is a fantastic hero when it comes to complement another tank mostly, or any kind of hero that gives you a stun setup, and if you're going for a bit of a burstier damage build. So with that, she can capitalize off a Diablo, of a Garrosh, of a Stitches, of a Muradin, just follow up on the initiation, get the stun in, and then try and burst someone down. Surprises me a little bit that Zeratul and Muradin are prioritized that highly for Ryzing Gaming in the 1-2. Now Zeratul can be really powerful and quite strong, but normally you see him a bit later in the draft pattern because he can be countered as well, and you can just like change a little bit the way that you draft on your own end to make his life harder. Muradin usually doesn't see as much of a priority anymore on the higher level, but maybe a preference pick here for Ryzing Gaming. Not necessarily a bad hero by any means, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely a hero that usually in the tank priority falls behind heroes like Diablo, like Garrosh and others. Dehaka and Genji, on the other hand, for No Rolf, already a pretty big indicator that they definitely know what they're doing here. First of all, Genji is rarely a bad pick. Great, of course, for the resets. Very good to also put pressure onto the solo lane, since he has the mobility to jump there quite quickly. And then with Dehaka, you have a global secured for your team that gives you the macro advantage as well. So pretty sweet, actually, what we're having here from them. Hanzo banned out early on. Didn't really expect him to come in, to be fair. Not necessarily against that setup here. But let's see what the ban is for No Rolf. You could target support here if you're afraid of one of those. Then the offlane, of course, is another tool. You could ban out even Blaze, but they go for the support role and take care of Malfurion for now. Maybe not really too fond of the Silence and this Twilight Dream, but then again, personally I would have probably looked at this and said, okay, maybe you're going to ban out something along the lines of a Blaze, or look at that offlane and ban something else out there. Obviously Zeratul can also take the offlane if he has to, but it's usually not a role that he necessarily wants to be in. He wants usually to roam free on the map and try and find these kills, particularly against Tyrande in the setup. Greymane and Rhaegar going full wolf here. Alright. Greymane maybe even with a Cursed Bullet follow-up after Muradin. Would still expect go for the throat here, but it's an option depending on the main tank that we're going to see. And that is actually still missing. The main tank for No Rolf isn't in the game yet, and we're going to see that pick any second now. So let's see what they're going to play with this. They also still need another damage dealer, and there's Jaina. Jaina with Tyrande, great setup, but the ETC worries me a little bit. ETC is always a hero where I'm a little bit careful because he dies pretty fast if you focus him. He can be a great utility hero, but he just doesn't have that hit point pool that a Diablo or a Garrosh offers you. And if not played incredibly well, ETC can be a liability. If you are able to set that power slide up for the Tyrande stun and the Jaina damage on the other hand, or land that mosh pit, then he can of course be an absolute fantastic force to be reckoned with. The off lane is going to be done by Leoric. It is the Janitor, and that sets the stage for our first game in this Division 1 match between No Rolf and Ryzing Gaming. So let's head into it. Sky Temple, map number 1. Game number 1, and on the left side we have No Rolf with Tigronis on Jaina, Valamax on ETC, Kick on Dehaka, Makoto on Tyrande, and Lolpro playing Genji. Whereas to the right side of the map, we're currently seeing Ryzing Gaming with Dakba on Rhaegar. We have Zoti on Zeratul, Blank on Leoric, Krurkoral on Greymane, and Castarat on Muradin. And we have the Janitor Leoric in play. I'm absolutely loving it. I swear I'm going to pull this joke for the last time, but every single time I see that guy, especially on the soap, I have to think about it. So the rumor is that the only reason that Janitor Leoric finally left his Janitor closet is because Blizzard needed it to put the remaining Heroes development team into the closet. It was the only space that was still available, so the Janitor was let out for that particular reason. A little bit mean, but then again, they kind of deserve it. So, yeah, let's check out how this is going to work out. Mid lane already a little bit of a brawl happening right there. We're having the solo lane taken at the top, where Genji all of a sudden has to deal with Leoric. At the bottom of the map, it's Dehaka versus Zeratul, so we can actually expect a little bit of a shift there, because this is not quite the setup that they were probably expecting. So there's the drag, there's a good one, the power slide to follow it up, but the damage isn't there yet. Tyrande is now coming, but she's a bit late to the party, and Jaina was apparently stuck in the mid lane. Massive brawl coming out, good stun, but ETC and Tyrande both walk away. Another slide, another attempt, but ETC a little bit far out, and the Stormbolt of Muradin is the perfect setup for Zeratul to secure kill number 1. Great play there by Ryzing Gaming, getting the first blood in the game. But to be honest, the initial start was actually good. It was a fantastic drag from Dehaka and then the ETC follow-up. The big problem really being that Tyrande and especially Jaina weren't there yet for the damage output, but the stun chain was executed well. But it highlights a bit the problem that I've been also talking about during the draft. ETC can be fantastic. Went into block, by the way, on level 1. I'm not seeing him with prog rock there. He can be great, but he can be a big liability if you're not able to survive. Like, it's really a survivability issue. That's normally why I like ETC a bit more if you're having a Blaze at his side that in a big late game team fight then can provide a bunker, or just someone else, like maybe even a Urel, you know, that can provide some armor. I always feel it's a bit dangerous to play ETC as a solo frontlaner here. Maybe not solo frontlaner, but as the main tank without any additional assistance. So we'll see how much of a problem that's going to become. He offers a lot, again, but he can be targeted, and that's oftentimes a bit of an issue. Good combo. I like it. Interrupting the stun, and that's exactly what makes Division 1 so different from Division 7. Perfect setup, as you could see. ETC with a power slide doesn't use the face melt right away, just waits, sits actually there, waits the entire time, and then the second Muradin tries to jump, he bam, interrupts it, keeps Muradin right in the blizzard and in Tyrande range, and that's the end of Muradin. So the counter kill right there. Even Zeratul taken out in the middle now. The setup that we're seeing from them with a slide into a Tyrande stun and then the damage coming from Genji, but mainly Jaina, is fantastic for early game kills. And they're going in again. Fantastic approach here. Really liking it. No Rolf with a kill against Greymane as they're invading the camp of their opponent. Dehaka even burrowing in for it. And that's a massive brawl that we're seeing there. Still trying to steal the camp away. Muradin is already low. Backed into a corner. He dies too. It's a 2-for-0 right now as Jaina is trying to see if they can get even more out of it. They steal the camp away. They get the double kill and a great invade from No Rolf. Really well executed, great decision making, absolutely fantastic choice. Tyrande with a scout owl before, and then the entire team just really having one thought, saying, okay guys, let's go for this. Dehaka burrows in, they get the drag off, and this was extremely well executed by them. I'm really, really liking this. This is actually a pleasure to watch right now. Good decision making from both teams, good early game kills that we're seeing here. Talent choices, pretty much what you would expect. Well, we're going to talk about those in a second. For now, it's Greymane who's in trouble, and Genji wants the kill, goes in deep for it. Might have gone a little bit too deep. Deflect is there, Stormbolt could hit him any second. Good power slide from ETC, buys the time, and even Greymane gets baited in as the Swift Strike is being followed up. But ETC, as we said before, a little bit low on HP and gets taken down here. Celestial Attunement for Tyrande as the level 7 choice, so can definitely help with the Stormbolts coming out from Muradin later on. We're even seeing on Greymane's side the extra damage going into the Wizened Duelist on level 7, so really trying to get extra damage out early on in the game. Some adjustments also for Leoric, who started with the Paralyzing Rage on level 4. Actually going into the increased slow. Don't really see that too often. Doesn't go full in on the wave clear, but instead just tries to clean house with his janitor skin on the team fight angle. So far so good for him. Level 7 adjustments for him too. We're going to talk about that in a second. First of all, we're having the Blizzard coming down on Zeratul again. And the Protoss just jumps out barely. The rest of the team now focusing on that last remaining altar up to the top. Greymane low, and Genji is not even hesitating. Goes in right away and just fucks him up. Down he goes. Quick Blizzard. Good drag against Muradin. And bam! No Ruffle. Look at that. Really starting to take the game here. Extremely well done. Hopelessness as the level 7. So the Drain Hope range. And that's a standard talent for Leoric to take here. Level 1 also with the Consume Vitality for Leoric. Now that talent per se isn't really something where I would say it's out of the ordinary, but these days, after the last Eastern Clash in Korea in 2018, we had a huge move towards Austin's renewal again, also in the Western scene, since most of the Western players started to emulate what the Koreans did at that tournament. Don't have that right now. Full machine gun build, by the way, for Jaina, going heavily into the ice shards here. And camps taken again up to the top of the map. But if you look at experience, there is a very significant lead now for No Rolf. With 6 kills against 2, they're closing in on level 10. ETC is already in position here, and Dehaka can of course always burrow in. It looks like Zeratul is going to try and offset the balance at the top lane a little bit. Currently Leoric is going up against Dehaka, but with Zeratul coming in, I don't think they will get the kill here, but they will definitely be able to push him back. There is no temple announced yet, and this is actually because the temples were delayed quite a bit. The timer for the next temple starts after the temples are completed, and that was delayed because the teams were fighting so heavily about the top temple for a long time. So there's no problem currently for Ryzing Gaming having to fight over the bottom temple in the second phase with a disadvantage in heroic abilities. So now we're having both with level 10 abilities in play. And that means that right now, Mosh Pit comes in. The kill against Rhaegar. Can they get a counter kill? Not quite. That was actually pretty quick there. Good execution again. Slide, Mosh Pit, bam. Starfall comes in. And they're not even using any other heroic ability. Not even the Ring of Frost being dropped here. Quick kill against Rhaegar. And he should be back for a fight over the temple. But it's another indicator how No Rolf is currently playing this. But then again, we have March of the Black King now over the Entomb, and we're also seeing Void Prison, Ancestral Healing, and we have for Genji the Dragon Blade over X-Strike. So let's see how this is going to pan out for them. Dehaka is of course trying to utilize his global mobility now by taking the top lane and adding another wave that is being cleared to the experience pool. And the rest of the team is just meeting up down to the bottom of the map. So we're going to have a 5 versus 5 here. But with 2 heroic cooldowns still not quite ready yet, the blue team has to be a little bit cautious. There's no mosh pit pressure against Ryzing Gaming, and they are very well aware of it. Right now, sliding in, the stun doesn't hit though, and all of a sudden ETC is in trouble, immediately trying to move out here. Muradin is already on Tyrande. Ring of Frost, but the Ancestral Healing is perfect. And Genji is trying to get away here, might even turn around and attempt for a Swift Strike. Tyrande low, nobody falling just yet, but the blue team is actually doing fairly well. Muradin jumps out just as the Swift Strike comes through. And Tyrande even throwing out the Starfall here. Leoric far in the back, gets taken out. And now we're having the blue team getting another big victory here. And again, they approached that fight not having two of their heroic abilities. So that was actually a big win for them that they were able to turn this around. Two of their heroes nearly fell. Genji, Tyrande, and also ETC, to be fair, were in a lot of trouble, but all of them survived through this. And that pressure starts to really accumulate quite a bit, because we nearly have that talent lead now for them. They are more than a level ahead in experience. They have also taken the bottom fort, which of course matters on the lane, basically, because the catapults are now going to spawn there in every third wave now. So it's going to be super important at this point. But I'm really liking the way that they're playing this. It's great execution that we're seeing from No Rolf. It's definitely not as if Ryzing Gaming is without chances of turning this around. Rigger, for example, had a fantastic ult, like the ancestral healing barely saving the target after the Ring of Frost came through. But they can definitely still try and make this work once that Greymane starts getting a bit of a kill. There's a huge potential, and this is a map where you can play a lot around boss fights too. The extra slow is really coming in. Stormbolt hits. Dehaka misplaying that slightly, but might even survive, and he does. The mosh pit comes in against 3. Here comes the Starfall. Isolation against Muradin is not able to do anything, and the double kill. Muradin and Greymane are down. Dehaka was actually attempting to dodge the Stormbolt, but used it a bit too early because there was no Stormbolt used by Muradin. He held it back, but now the boss is being attacked as 2 heroes are down. The stacks on Greymane got lost. They could just not get that kill on Dehaka. He was a bit too good with the survivability here, and then Tyrande was in range to help him out with the heals as well. Now the boss has taken 10 kills against 2. And a tough situation for the red team. Now keep in mind, that last fight was also at a talent disadvantage for the red team. The only reason why they were in the fight in the first place is that they were trying to get an isolated kill against Dehaka, and they nearly pulled it off, but then because Dehaka survived and was able to move back, they more or less got baited into following him and got baited into a team fight they didn't really want to take because they were at a talent disadvantage. With the boss now on the map and Greymane starting to take care of it, we have 2 temples approaching. And so they're attempting to go simply for a trade here. Trade a temple for a temple. 16 talents aren't ready yet for No Rolf, so Ryzing Gaming is in a situation where they can still take that fight quite easily if they want to. The boss is taken out, Greymane pushing the lane out, and will have to soon move into the middle to help out there. But already a trap set up for him. These two are just waiting. They're just waiting for Greymane. ETC and Genji are just saying, dude, if you just move in here, we're gonna get you. And he has to move back already. ETC is there. He tries to get the slide. Good reaction by Khaldor. Really liking it. Not using any abilities while ETC is still mounted. He knows that he can't outspeed them. But the second he sees the animation popping up for the power slide, he immediately starts moving away from it. Doesn't even get hit. And therefore absolutely no chance for ETC and Genji to get a kill. There's a very good reaction from him as well. But I like the trap attempt that we saw from them. There was an exchange in temples, temple for temple. That means that we have 2 keeps or 2 forts now eliminated on the side of the blue team, whereas the red team predictably has lost all the outer defenses. So catapults are going to spawn on all 3 lanes. If you disregard the difference in levels, the structural situation is really not too bad. It's that level 16 talent and the 2 level lead that's really the big concern. And of course that comes mainly through the structures they took down, but also those 10 kills against 2. Another team fight is important. You need to win that team fight, and you need to win it soon, ideally once you hit level 16 yourself. So we can expect the red team to play this a little bit more passive and simply try and wait until they get their next talent and then play around that. No Rolf, on the other hand, is going to be very, very aggressive on the map. They're already stealing camps away on their opponent's side. They're going to try and invade as much as they can. And you can see how ETC is the entire time playing very aggressive at the front, always threatening that quick power slide and maybe even a follow-up through the mosh pit, because he knows fully well that if he at any point is able to force the battle, they will have the advantage there. So both of the teams definitely clearly in the know how to play this right now. We're having Jaina also dealing with the camp at the top, always dancing around, making sure not all of the melee bruisers can attack her at the camp. But level 16 is nearly there for Ryzing Gaming, and it comes at more or less the perfect time. Just as the temple is about to spawn, they're able to also get their own camp at the top right, so the top lane is going to pretty much in an equilibrium. But now it's just simply the question, how much can you do down here? Once again, setting their sights onto Zeratul, but their team is there. The jump onto Rhaegar, and all of a sudden, ETC might be a little bit fouled. He's looking for the mosh pit, though. They're going onto Tyrande, and Tyrande's in trouble. Puts the Starfall in. Mirrodin cuts her path of retreat off, and that should be the end of her. Escaping once again, or trying to, but the kill is there. Leoric now with the ominous Wraith, immediately attempting to make sure that there's no damage output, and ETC is about to fall. Goes down after using the mosh pit here. Dragon Blade comes in, but doesn't do enough, and they are right away on Dehaka to get that third kill, and it looks like they will easily get that too. Dehaka goes down, and there's the triple kill they've been waiting for. Genji steals 2, 3, 4 shots away, and then we're having the red team taking over again. Already having Zeratul down at the bottom of the map, but Ryzing Gaming definitely starting that comeback right now and making sure that they are in the game again. Level 16 for Mirrodin, going actually for the increased range on his jump, making no attempts to go into stone form for survivability here. Well, of course, now have also the additional damage output from Zeratul. That in particular with a Relief build is going to make a huge difference. And what we're going to talk about is have a quick look at the damage. Zeratul currently sitting at 19,000. You can expect that to be boosted a lot soon enough. Genji on 32k is still holding the top damage for his own team. But ETC died 3 times now, and this is pretty much what we talked about earlier. The survivability of ETC is not quite on the level of the other tanks. At the same time, he offers a lot of utility, as we could already see in the previous fights here. So with that being said, it's a lot about the boss again, and the boss is back up on the map. Zeratul versus Genji, already a little bit of damage that's getting pushed out here. But this is going to be the important battle. Is someone going to make a move? Who's going to win this fight? No one is on 20 just yet. Mirrodin looks for the Storm Bolt. Dehaka is there, isolated, has to use the bow, uses his essence as well early on in the game. Leoric with the Ominous Wraith is reducing the damage of 3. ETC doesn't have the cooldown yet for the mosh pit, he can't use it. The Ring of Frost is only hitting Greymane. Mirrodin is low, the Dragon Blade comes out again, and the kill against Rhaegar. Can't even use his Ancestral Healing. Nearly the counter kill. Oh, he actually missed the swipe. They lose Greymane, they lose Zeratul. Leoric screwed up and did hit it too early. Could not get the kill, and now they lost 4. They could have gotten a counter kill after the Void Prison for sure, but Leoric misses the skeleton swing, uses it too early, and that lands just as the Void Prison is still up, and all of a sudden the blue team is full on in the driver's seat again, can go for the boss, can go for the bot lane. They're not even making a boss player, saying, boys, screw this, we're going keep straight away. They get the kills in, not even with all their abilities as the fight started. Great coordination by them again, just saving everybody, and the fight didn't really look all that great for the blue team when it started, but now they're going straight up onto that keep, trying to get it here. Boss is still up on the map, 19 versus 20. Blank on his Leoric, still with a drain, and yes, the keep is gone, and now of course we're going to see an attempt for the boss, or at least they could try and posture around it. There's 2 temples coming up now as well, so you have a few choices of what you could go for. Maybe even a trap setup. They were trying to set up a couple of traps during the earlier stages of this game. Zeratul is on the way. At the bottom of the map we're seeing Genji trying to sneak a few shots, but now with level 20 just around the corner, there's still a chance for Ryzing Gaming to make a boss play and turn this around. Dehaka is making his way topside, and right now you have to make a decision. Ryzing Gaming has to make a choice. Boss, temple, what's going to be the play? They need to risk something. They just can't sit back and play this slow. This is over. Very likely that we're going to see a boss play started by Ryzing Gaming and just throwing a bit of a Hail Mary. If they play a long run game against an opponent that is running a global hero, then you can just out-rotate, go into the temples, and eventually, through the objective alone, try and take your opponent down. So very likely that this is going to come down to a boss play, and that might bring Ryzing Gaming back into the game. And there it is already. Ryzing Gaming is starting things up. They know they need to go for it. They have very little choice. They know it's been scouted. They're trying to force that fight. The Haka is still topside. There's a camp coming topside as well. And as you can see, that keep is already taking a lot of damage. They have to make a risky call here. Either force that battle. And here it comes. Stormbolt is in. They're going straight for ETC. Was trying to set something up here. Not quite able to do so. The Haka comes in from the back. Hits Stormbolt. Hits. He's immediately being attacked here. Uses the essence. Uses everything. And here comes the Void Prison. They're going in the back. And Genji is down. And they want more than that. They go for Jaina. They go for Tyrande. Tyrande falls first. Out comes the Ring of Frost. Does damage, but it's not enough. The Haka falls. And so does Jaina. It's a 4-man kill here. Great attack. The core, on the other hand, soon going to be attacked too. And right now, Ryzing Gaming is trying to end the game. They're going in. They're moving in. Mosh Pit comes. Hits 3. Hits 2. But they're just ignoring it. There's no damage to follow up on it. So the keep is about to go down and they want to go for the core here. They know they have to end the game right now. They don't even waste any time with the boss. On the right side of the map, yes, we have catapults homing in on the core, but that's not going to be enough, or at least it shouldn't be. The core of No Rolf is about to fall as Ryzing Gaming is looking to end game number 1. Sky Temple, they take it, they win it, and they take down No Rolf on the first map of the best of 3 series. Game number 2, everybody! Shire is the map. And, well, this is actually a pretty awesome series so far. I like that first game. The execution level that we saw from both teams was really cool, especially in the early game. And then that turnaround, that comeback. 6.5 out of 10 IGN. No Ruffle dominating huge parts and stretches of the game. And then Ryzing Gaming with a really important turnaround, a Hail Mary. It was their last chance to do something about it, and they actually did. It was pretty impressive to see that. So let's head into the second game. We have Shire chosen, and it is a ban on MyF that we start things off with. It's pretty sweet setup here for both of the teams. I actually like the way that No Ruffle was running with their stun combo into burst damage. Now again, there were a couple of problems with ETC, but I have to give him quite a bit of credit. Like, he played it really well, and he was a very threatening force throughout the entire game. And if Ryzing Gaming wouldn't have played this safely and really just like completely think through all of the potential threats that ETC can pose, I feel he would have gotten even more value than he already did. So both of them doing well here. But Genji, of course, being a huge factor in the last game, so he's targeted as a ban from Ryzing Gaming. They don't want No Ruffle to rely on him once again. It was definitely a big problem for them in the last one. And let's see, we have Jaina banned out even for Shire. Alright, maybe afraid of some setup around burst damage here for them again, but yeah. Let's see. To the right side, our first pick for Ryzing Gaming. Are they going to change their style a little bit? Muradin would actually work well here too. I don't really think it would be necessarily a first pick, but if you talk about tanks, Shire gives Muradin a few more added advantages. But now we have, in terms of priority picks, Tyrande picked first of all. So again, it's that setup. Originally, this was one of the best maps for Miranda, like Tyrande and Muradin. When the two were roaming the map, they were always looking for kills here. So that is actually something that can work still, if you make that work. By quick rotations and trying to get the burst damage, but of course not having Jaina in the mix is going to make it a bit more tricky. And Arthur's in the 1-2. Interesting choice here. Junkrat is not really a problem by any means. Arthur's, I'm a little bit interested to see if it's going to be an off lane or a main tank choice. I would assume that we're going to see him on the top lane and not in a main tank position. But then again, there might be a bit of a switch around for them. Could also work if you're planning to get Reyna into the mix. So he can capitalize with the ace on the hole pretty heavily on Arthur's Frozen Wastes. Garrosh and Thrall as the counter, so both teams already with some of their front line assembled, and Thrall obviously going to take the top lane for Ryzing Gaming. Unless they're playing with the triple melee and plan to go into Trash Lightning with Thrall. If they do that, then he might be part of a 4-man rotation that we have between all of that. So, let's see what the bans are. I mean, there is still range damage to be taken out. Okay, Ophir gets banned. Any kind of like bursty damage on a Tyrande initiation would be good, because Tyrande can follow up on either a Garrosh flip and stun or on a Thrall Wolf, so there's quite a bit of potential for that. Zeratul gets taken out, and personally I really want to see if Reyna's not being picked. I feel with Arthas he would be a great choice for the late game teamfights, and I think in general Reyna is a pretty fantastic hero, was heavily prioritized by the Korean teams towards the end of 2018 as well, and of course the Europeans have also valued him quite highly. But let's see how that's gonna work out here for them, or if they choose to go some different path. Muradin and Tracer, okay. Didn't quite expect Tracer here. To be absolutely fair, I didn't necessarily expect Muradin either, but it answers our question with Arthas being the offlaner. He indeed is. Leoric taken now, so we have actually a triple melee setup for Ryzing Gaming. That means Thrall with Trash Lightning could go into the middle and join a rotation to try and get the stacks together. He himself is actually good against Tracer. It's going to be decent damage. It's a point and click damage against any hero, so you don't even have to aim a skill shot. And we have Hanzo in the mix now as well. Tracer is going to try and focus her efforts onto Hanzo and Tyrande most likely. What's the last pick going to be for No Rolf on the other hand? Rhaegar. Alright, Rhaegar for the heals. Okay, I'm game. Dragonshire, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2. Let's head straight into it. Game on! Game number 2, Ryzing Gaming is in the lead. And that was a pretty huge turnaround that we had in the first game. No Rolf in blue starting on the left once again. Tigronix on Junkrat, Lolpro on Tracer. We have Makoto on Rhaegar. Valamax on Muradin, going straight into the perfect storm here, going for the stacks. Kick on Arthas. And to the right side, Kragoral on Thrall. We're seeing Blank again on Leoric. Zotti on Hanzo for game number 2. Dakbar taking over duties on Tyrande, trying to follow up on those stuns and slows. And Khaldor on Garrosh. Great first game. Now we find ourselves on Dragonshire. I'm especially interested to see how much value Tracer is going to get in this game. Reason being, amongst other things, that Tracer going up against Tyrande can sometimes be a little bit tricky because of that Hunter's Mark and the damage that comes out there. Oh, good reaction time by Lol Pro. That was close. Khaldor was just waiting for her, and once that stun hits, you are basically dead. But that was a really, really good reaction time by Tracer. Zip! And immediately out. So, as I was about to say, it's not only about the Tyrande on the other side that can make Tracer's life a little bit of a living hell if that Hunter's Mark hits at the perfect moment in time. It's more so actually about that Thrall that can really, really do work with that Chain Lightning. If you have a point and click damage attack against a very nimble and agile hero like Tracer, then you will still get that poke damage in. And of course, once that we have the Thunderstorm on level 16 for Thrall, he's also going to be able to slow her down quite significantly. And once you lose the mobility with such a hero, you definitely have a bit of a problem. So Thrall is definitely going to be one of the heroes we will watch out for that particular reason. Teams are already taking the camps, and especially Makoto on his Rhaegar has of course the camp clear that he needs for that, so he's trying to use that right away. And they are setting up a very early push on the top lane with the Bruiser camp. Really liking the decision. Using that additional wave clear that they have on the camp, because as you can tell, the red team just doesn't quite have that. They don't really have a hero that is doing that well on clearing the camps. They are now taking a Siege Giant camp in exchange. But we have the same now also being pulled off. And look at this, they actually delayed, and the reason for that is simple. They've already seen that the Siege Giants are taken by their opponent, so their whole thought process is take our own camp, make sure that the lane shifts a little bit towards the left, and then we can take this, defend the opponent's Siege Giants, keep ours alive and on the map, and then we can push that out with our own camp a little bit easier. Lol Pro is still being targeted here, and he's actually just zipping around the entire time, and Zotti on his Hanzo is threatening him the entire time. Muradin here was actually hoping to get a Stormbolt in. Wasn't really a bad thought. The Stormbolt was more, it wasn't necessarily missed, it was actually a bit of a prediction Stormbolt. He expected Leoric to walk. He expected Leoric to walk a little bit to the side, and so he tried and predict the Stormbolt, but Leoric did actually not move. He went straight into the Wraith Walk, and because of that was able to escape the Stormbolt. So pretty well done on both ends, but a good thought process here too. We have now, in terms of talents, the Frost Wolf pack taken for Thrall, so he's going to try and get the stacking up on his level 4. The mana reduction, cooldown reduction is going to be pretty good for him to spam it out. And you can already tell that we are very likely going to see... It's actually a bit of an interesting question. Thunderstorm would be great against Tracer, but if you're more so worried about busting the tanks, then you might be tempted on 16 to go into the Alpha Wolf. And that would work really, really well with your level 4 on Thrall. So that's a choice that he will have to make later on the road. Both talents would work really well. It depends on what you want to target. Are you worried about Tracer, or do you try and burst through Muradin and Arthas instead? Either way, Thrall should be a force to be reckoned with here. And now, of course, both of the teams still looking for the first objective. Muradin in a little bit of trouble, gets attacked here. Khaldor on his Garrosh was doing well so far, but all of a sudden, Tyrande down. That was a great move by Junkrat, putting her out of position here with his displacement right away, and then the rest of the team followed up immediately. Very, very well done by them. Absolutely liking what they were able to pull off here. So another really cool move. Especially Tyrande, of course, is totally helpless if she finds herself in this particular position. So really well done here. Zotti still fighting around with Muradin a little bit, but Balamax is going to have his own heals kick in soon when he can get out of the fight. The blue team is currently holding both shrines, but Leoric is already taking over top side. Nice attack here once again. They're trying to go for Muradin, and they get him. Muradin is down, and Tracer missed the bomb against Hanzo. So Hanzo survives. Was using his trade to jump out of the fight and just got that off in time before Tracer moved in for the kill. So really good kills here on both sides so far. The pressure at the top lane again. Adjustments from Leoric, by the way. No hopelessness this time. Instead, willing Vessel, trying to get the additional drain through his through the Drain Hope, just simply because he wants to make sure that he can hold the off lane against Arthas, I assume. So trying to have the additional sustainability that we're usually having on that end. Celestial Attunement for Tyrande again. Different team, same talents, at least for the time being. And we're now seeing more camps being taken. But it's a constant fight for especially the objective. And as we're seeing the middle heavily focused, because both of those shrines have now several times been under the control of the blue team. No Rolf is doing well trying to run for this. They're still taking camps in the meantime. Having Rhaegar on the map definitely helps you to get that camp pressure in. One of the main reasons why they went for this. And here comes again the attempt to go for Hanzo, and this time there's absolutely no chance. LOLpro got a little bit pissed after the last couple of attempts and was saying like, guys, I'm actually really annoyed here because I'm just not getting my kills in. I'm really trying, but for some reason my bomb just doesn't connect, and this time there was absolutely no hesitation. Goes in, Stormbolt comes, bam, there's the bomb, and all of a sudden the kill is secured. Well played by them, and as we said before, Tracer will focus heavily on Hanzo and Tyrande whenever she gets a chance to. And Makoto is doing the same thing. He's just active on the map, he's taking the camps, he's saying, guys, we have an asset in our team here. We have a hero that is really doing well at the camp clear, so let's make sure that we're getting those mercenaries for us whenever need be. But if you look at experience, it's actually they're a little bit behind here. We have Sundering now being used. We're seeing also Hanzo with the arrow, of course. And we have the March of the Black King again. But tens are now coming in on both ends, as we are seeing No Rolf taking the same. And oh, Haymaker, baby! Alright, somebody watched Leon's stream a little bit too much. Don't watch too much North America. You know what you're going to end up with. It's going to be the Haymaker choice here. Alright, they're going for the Playmaker. Trying to get the isolations going. Consider me intrigued. Interested to see how that's going to work for them. I definitely expected Avatar on that level. But yep, it's Playmaker. And in case you don't know, Leon, one of the NA streamers, he is pretty bored with Avatar plays on Muradin and focuses on Haymaker all the time, having a lot of fun with that. It's actually quite cool to see him stream. If you haven't ever done it, check out his stream. And yeah, Haymaker already being used, didn't really get any value though. Like Valamax had the perfect idea. It's like, I'm going in, I'm hammering into my team, and then nothing happened. Garrosh basically said, like, yeah, and what are you gonna do now? But it's of course a low cooldown. It's not really a big cooldown or anything, so you can really spam it out a little bit more. Increases the damage output of Muradin too. But it's an interesting setup. No doubt about that. Let's see how much you can actually get out of it, because I'm not quite sure what the follow-up is going to be. In a 5-man, I think with Arthas you can get a good Howling Blast in and maybe walk him down. But I haven't really seen that yet. Chase on the way up top. They're trying to reclaim at least one of the shrines, because Muradin is feeling the pressure mid lane already. Trying to hold this. Turanda, yeah, I was just about to say as Thrall moves in, she's not going to be able to take that camp on her own. That is just not happening. So top side, one shrine is taken over now. And let's see how they're going to play this out against Leoric. Don't think they can get a kill here. Drain Hope against Tracer. Not too bad hitting that. Now again, if you're playing Leoric, what you want to do is you always want to try and set the swing up before you try and Drain Hope a target, because that slow is going to make it much harder for your opponent to move out of the drain. And yeah, therefore, should always make it exactly this way. So just because of the blink, she was able to get out, but you could really see the effect there. But let's not forget that we're actually having paralyzing rage taken on level 4 for blank. So he makes that adjustment and doesn't go for the Neil Peasant. Arrow hitting at the bot from Hanzo, and they're following it up with a kill against Murden. Good play here from Ryzing Gaming. 13 versus 12 in talents now, and they have actually a massive push going with that night camp that they just took bot side, so they can go through that first fort. Junkrat can't do anything about it. Tigronix is sitting there saying like, well, I guess that's that. Can poke a little bit, but that's about it. The rest of the team is starting to make the rotation too, because I guess they were probably thinking about attempting to push through this. But with Rhaegar, Arthas, and Tracer, you just don't have that same push power as the 4-man has at the bot lane with those camps that they got too. So now there's a heavy push coming towards the keep. And this is really not a good lane to lose your fort and wall either, because this is a great lane for the Dragon Knight to attack once that you have it. Top lane is always a bit of a problem that you're walking onto the bridge of death, so you have to consider that. But here it's a bit of a different story. Stormbolt, not enough. Valamax tried to close the distance, jumps in and tries to see if he can maybe land the Stormbolt, but it was a bit too optimistic, goes too far out. Ult's being used topside. Look at that. We're actually having him trying to walk down Leoric and claim this one. I'm not quite sure if Kick should really be here, especially since help is coming, and he should know that. He should know that someone else is coming, because there's no reason for Leoric to actually stay here. And yeah, Arthas is going to go down. That was definitely not a good choice. He already had to use his ult, was trying to get the damage in. Leoric wasn't even leaving, but could always go out with another arrow, short distance, but the taunt and the kill. Not only against Rhaegar, but they get the kill against Muradin too. Here comes the Sundering. Follow-up attempt, not quite enough. But Ryzing Gaming, damn, they are definitely taking kills this game. Last game was very different in the way that it was structured. It was actually No Rolf that was able to establish a very big early lead, but this time we're having a completely different story unfolding in front of us. It's Ryzing Gaming who through that draft are able to really set the pace of the game. And it's tough for No Rolf now. Behind, inexperience, they will be behind the talent soon, and they're starting to lose structures on the map as well. Arthas comes in once more, here's the Reptile. The follow-up attempt. Lolpro gets actually stunned. Here comes the damage. Tracer goes in. Should be able to get the kill here. No, not quite. Doesn't get the kill in this instance. And immediately the follow-up with the March of the Black King as Leoric is moving in. But Arthas is already going for the Army of the Dead. Once more, they're trying to go in. The quest completed on Thrall. Leoric down though. They're looking for another. Turanda is nearly dead, but is able to survive again. Big fight here against the level 16 talent that we're now seeing on the other side. Alpha Wolf chosen on Thrall. The question that we had earlier answered, trying to break through that tank line a little bit more. And now we're seeing that dragon claimed by the blue team. No ruffle. They might have lost a few fights and also that fort, but they take the objective. The problem is at the bot lane, where they nearly lose the keep towards the catapult and also those siege giants. Rhaegar goes down again, not careful enough, gets taken apart here. The kill setup that we're seeing from Ryzing Gaming is just a bit too much. The flips from Garrosh, the follow-up from Turanda, and another attempt to go for Tracer. Tracer really trying to get the damage out, but now she is taken apart nearly. Goes for the recall. Don't quite know why. I think she would have been able to get away here, but the recall, definitely the end of it. Maybe a bit of a misclick that we saw from her. With another Q, Thrall would have probably been able to take her down. But now this is, of course, going to be an easy keep for the red team. 37,000 damage on Leoric. Him draining Arthas at the top lane, giving him a huge amount of damage output. And we have 28,000 on Arthas as well. So you can actually see that the two offlaners have so far done the most damage. And this is mainly because they were stuck in that 1-versus-1 lane and just like hitting each other the entire time. Tracer still sitting at a respectable 28k, 27,000 for Junkrat. but it is also Hanzo we have to watch out for. 27k on his own part. That being said, when we're looking at those talents, the level 20 is going to become a huge issue now. We are with level 16, also a bit more utility for Muradin. Now we have again the extra range on the Dwarf Toss. And with Haymaker, you can actually now try and get some setups. If you, for example, are able to make it past Tyrande, jump on her, and get a Haymaker in, you are in a great spot. Muradin, I think he saw Garrosh. If not, he might have been a little bit of a problem. Muradin, and yep, that's the problem of not having Avatar. Right there. Even with the healing clap, couldn't do anything. No stone form, no Avatar, and that was the end of that. Too much stun, too much lockdown, too much burst damage, especially in addition to the Hunter's Mark from Tyrande. Everything immediately put into place. And they knew he was coming too. I mean, Garrosh saw him, so he could tell them right away, guys, listen, Muradin is coming in. If you can get him, try and snipe him. Arrow comes in. They're trying again, but the cleanse comes out from Rhaegar. Arthas, on the other hand, gets slowed, gets thrown, still trying to run away here. Rhaegar, thinking about attempting to close the distance for a quick ancestral healing, decides against it, and that's the tank line gone again. And they're not stopping there. They're going for the next one. Barely getting out. Ancestral healing being used there too, but Ryzing Gaming is absolutely running the show right now on the map. Muradin jumping in, trying to go for the Haymaker, gets taunted and interrupted before he can even make that play, and he gets completely farmed right now. Ryzing Gaming just having the way better execution at this point, not being surprised at all. Good kill against Thrall here though, as finally with the displacement of Junkrat they can get a bit more damage in. Well played. Some of them are low, but there's no one who can really capitalize on that just yet. 10 kills against 4. Really, really, really good setup here from Ryzing Gaming. Again, losing Thrall here, but when Muradin jumped in, even without having the vision, they immediately reacted. Bam, interrupt the Haymaker, taunt him, make sure that you get the stun and the Hunter's Mark in, and then immediately blow the guy to pieces. So extremely well coordinated by them. Now, with that being said, when I was looking at another Dragonite, and of course, it is the level 20 talent that is the biggest concern for No Rolf, since with level 20, a forced fight would very likely go in favor of the red team. So a Dragonite might be something you have to give up. But the keep at the bot lane is already lost. Your top wall is basically destroyed, so it is a really risky move if that happens. If they can get an isolated kill, on the other hand, that would really offset the balance and give them a little bit more time. Problem is they're so far behind in experience, it's going to be extremely tough to close that gap. It's 1.5 levels that they need to farm in order to make it 220. So isolation kills would be the best thing they can hope for. And they are looking for them. Stormbolt comes out a little bit too soon or too late, depending on how you look at it. Does only hit Leoric, as is in his form. Arrow misses, but the kill attempt against Arthas, and he goes down. The Sundering does the work. Very well done here. The Ancestral doesn't come through, and now we have seen Tracer fall. They're trying to make a play for Muradin too. He escapes, but of course there is another channel happening as we speak right at the Dragonite, and this time it's going to be Ryzing Gaming who's going to claim it. Dragonite is in, and now what are they going to do? Are they going to try and go for game? Doesn't really look like it. They're going for the fort. No, they're not. Fort, bot lane. Nice bait into the tower range. Yeah, but they're going to the bottom of the map. They have level 20, they have catapults, they have a siege giant camp, they have a Dragonite, and there's a 5 versus 3 on the map. Ryzing Gaming, they want to end the game right now. They have a massive lead, and they want to make sure that there is no way for a comeback. They had a great comeback in the first game. They want to prevent No Rolf from doing something similar here. So it's the immediate attack on the core Haymaker just to get a little bit more space. Muradin jumping out, gets taunted, but survives for now. But this is going to be it as Ryzing Gaming takes a 2-0 victory over No Rolf at Heroes Launch Division 1. Congratulations, well played.